Breaking news tonight, the horror on the highway, a deadly crash involving a bus filled with high school students. The charter bus carrying students to band camp crashing and rolling down an embankment in New York.
The charter bus carrying students to band camp crashing and rolling down an embankment in New York. Embankment. An embankment is a thick wall of earth that is built to carry a road or railway track over an area of low ground, or to prevent water from a river or the sea from flooding the area. They climbed a steep embankment.
At least 2 adults killed, dozens injured. What authorities just revealed about the possible cause. Also tonight, the new surge at the border as the Biden administration grants temporary protections to nearly 500,000 migrants. Republicans blasting the move. In Texas, one border town declaring a state of emergency. And the tragedy, a 3-year-old migrant child dying while trying to cross the Rio Grande. The alarming new discovery at a New York daycare center where a 1-year-old died after fentanyl exposure, what police found inside a trap door.
What police found inside a trap door. Trap door. A trap door is a sliding or hinged door in a floor or ceiling. He opened the trap door and descended into the dark basement.
The urgent manhunt after a dangerous child sex offender escaped from the hospital. The images of him walking out and roaming free. Ukrainian President Zelensky meeting with President Biden at the White House and his plea to Congress for more aid as Republican support fades. The tropical storm warning for the East Coast. We're tracking it. Rupert Murdoch, the creator of Fox News, stepping down as chair of his media empire after a tumultuous year.
Rupert Murdoch, the creator of Fox News, stepping down as chair of his media empire after a tumultuous year. Tumultuous. A tumultuous event or period of time involves many exciting and confusing events or feelings. The tumultuous changes in Eastern Europe.
And for 2 days, he was lost at sea. Today, his reunion with those who saved his life.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome. We begin tonight with breaking news and a scene that will take away the breath of any parent who has sent their child on a long-distance school trip. Northwest of New York City, a charter bus carrying high school students plunged off a highway and down an embankment this afternoon, killing at least 2 adults, with the governor adding there are at least 5 students in critical condition. From the air, the extent of the disaster scene is apparent. A massive EMS response. Medical teams seen tending to the injured along a highway. Emily Aketa is there for us tonight with late details. Emily, what are you finding out?
Lester, we're learning moments ago there were 44 people on board the bus that crashed down a 50-foot ravine, many of them freshmen.
We are learning moments ago there were 44 people on board the bus that crashed down a 50-foot ravine. Ravine. A ravine is a very deep, narrow valley with steep sides. The bus overturned and fell into a ravine.
Officials say 2 women died, ages 77 and 43, as we get word that the NTSB is en route to investigate.
Tonight, a chilling scene in New York, where a charter bus packed full of students heading to band camp crashed and rolled down an embankment into the median of a busy highway.
Get to the scene. We're going to need all your equipment.
Several people medevac to local hospitals.
Several people medevac to local hospitals. Medevac. The evacuation of casualties from forward areas to the nearest hospital or base. It was the deadliest medevac accident in Maryland in 40 years.
Officials say many on board were freshmen.
3rd medevac is en route from the scene.
While it's preliminary, it is likely that a faulty front tire contributed to the accident, although, again, this is still under investigation.
6 buses of students from Farmingdale High School on Long Island were on their way to an annual band camp in Pennsylvania when one of them crashed just after 1 this afternoon, 60 miles north of New York City. A massive emergency response mobilized to the scene, a ladder leading to the bus's shattered windows, ropes stretching across the embankment. This photo shows first responders triaging people on the side of the road.
This photo shows first responders triaging people on the side of the road. Triage. Triage is the process of quickly examining sick or injured people, for example, after an accident or a battle, so that those who are in the most serious condition can be treated first.
Traffic halted for hours on both sides of the interstate.
Very shook up.
Patricia Defendini relieved her grandson, who was on the trip, is okay.
And my grandson's friend was one person who was airlifted, so I don't know if he's okay or not.
Students at Farmingdale High School say they were in class when they started to hear from friends injured in the crash.
My friend came up to me and they were telling me what happened, and like they showed me one of my friends, like her face was all bloody, and I started crying and stuff. Very emotional time.
We met Edward Hoschler as he picked up his daughter from a local community college, now a reunification center. She was on one of the other buses.
Just seeing her face, nothing a parent wants to go through. And once you see that they're okay, then you just think immediately of everyone else.
And Emily, of course, parents, all they want right now is to be able to hug their children. How are they being reunited with their kids?
Well, Lester, school officials say most of the students have been stopping at this community college before returning to Long Island. Here, they have the opportunity to meet with grief counselors and for some reunite with parents after what you can imagine has been a traumatizing day.
Here they have the opportunity to meet with grief counselors and for some reunite with parents after what you can imagine has been a traumatizing day. Grief counselor. A person trained to assist people who have been bereaved in coping with their grief. After her husband passed away, she sought help from a grief counselor to cope with her loss.
Lester?
Yeah, Emily Aketa, thank you. The numbers of migrants illegally crossing the U.S. southern border is approaching record numbers again tonight. Meanwhile, the Biden administration also announced a controversial new policy that will allow nearly 500,000 migrants to temporarily stay and work in this country. Morgan Chesky has late details.
Tonight in Eagle Pass, Texas, officials say they're overwhelmed. The town now under a state of emergency in response to a massive migrant surge. In just 24 hours, 2,500 migrants crossed illegally. The mayor issuing a call for more help and resources.
We need to do something to control the situation. This is not normal. It is not normal for thousands of people to simply be walking in a line without consequence.
Nationwide, the border crisis is growing. On Wednesday, a Border Patrol official tells NBC News nearly 9,000 migrants crossed illegally, approaching the record high of more than 10,000 set in May. Tonight, President Biden is sending 800 more troops to help Border Patrol with logistics and processing migrants. The migrant surge so sudden, federal authorities shut down the international bridge here so staff could process thousands of men, women, and children. We found many left Venezuela to make the treacherous journey.
¿Cuántas personas de Venezuela? Wow. And so this is fitting exactly with what we've been hearing over the last several weeks. So many people coming from Venezuela.
Now the Biden administration announcing a major policy change, giving temporary legal status to nearly 500,000 Venezuelan migrants, allowing them to apply for work permits in the U.S., adding they'll be temporarily barred from deportation. Earlier, we met Yulia at an overcrowded shelter in San Antonio, also from Venezuela, and a mother of two.
Yulia, dime, ¿cómo están los niños?
Yulia tells me her kids are in good health, but the journey was difficult. Yet her family, like so many others, remains committed to going forward. Crossing here is dangerous. Officials confirming 2 drownings in 2 days, including a 3-year-old boy. Meanwhile, Republicans have blasted the Biden administration, saying its lax border policies have caused the ongoing crisis.
Saying it is lax border policies have caused the ongoing crisis. Here they have the opportunity to meet with grief counselors and for some reunite with parents after what you can imagine has been a traumatizing day. Grief counselor. A person trained to assist people who have been bereaved in coping with their grief. After her husband passed away, she sought help from a grief counselor to cope with her loss.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott posting this video, writing, Texas installed razor wire in Eagle Pass to stop illegal crossings. Today, the Biden administration cut that wire, opening the floodgates. The video showing migrants crossing over after border agents cleared the fence.
And Morgan, we understand the mayor of Eagle Pass is now reaching out to Mexico.
Yeah, Lester, he is hosting a binational meeting tomorrow with Mexican leaders to discuss what he calls a deepening immigration crisis. And as for that video released by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a Border Patrol official says that those migrants were in the water and the agents were fearful they could possibly drown. Lester?
Morgan Chesky, thanks. Tom Llamas is also at the border tonight. And Tom, you've been talking with migrants. Any indication of why this surge is happening right now?
Lester, good evening. That is the big question right now in Eagle Pass. I want to show you this just behind me here. The situation with migrants has gotten so bad, they've created this makeshift processing center under one of the main bridges here.
The situation with migrants has gotten so bad, they have created this makeshift processing center under one of the main bridges here. Makeshift. Makeshift things are temporary and usually of poor quality, but they are used because there is nothing better available. A few cushions formed a makeshift bed.
One of the main arteries connecting Mexico to Eagle Pass. It appears they've separated the migrants, at least for now. There seems to be families on one side. You can see some of them getting into Border Patrol vans right there. And then on the other side, it looks to be a large amount of males that have come in without families and or without their wives and have arrived here. I had a chance to speak with the sheriff of Eagle Pass, who used to be a Border Patrol agent. He says in all his years in law enforcement and working this border, he has never seen a problem this bad. So I had a chance to speak to a few of the migrants, and I asked them what happened with this week. Why are so many migrants coming to the United States this week? They told me they have no idea. One pointed to the sky saying the weather was better, but they also said it was very easy to jump on those trains and get right to the border. Lester, we know now they've shut down at least one highway and all of those trains.
Tom Llamas in Texas tonight. Thank you. A stunning new twist this evening involving that New York City daycare where a one-year-old boy died after exposure to fentanyl.
A stunning new twist this evening involving that New York City daycare where a one-year-old boy died after exposure to fentanyl. Twist. A twist in something is an unexpected and significant development. The battle of the sexes also took a new twist.
Police saying another search uncovered a trap door in the daycare's play area. Inside, they say they found a large quantity of fentanyl, other narcotics, and drug paraphernalia.
Inside, they say they found a large quantity of fentanyl, other narcotics, and drug paraphernalia. Paraphernalia. You can refer to a large number of objects that someone has with them or that are connected with a particular activity as paraphernalia. Keep all of your laundry paraphernalia together.
The owner and her tenant are charged with murder. Manhunts in 2 states tonight for that murder suspect who was mistakenly let go in Indiana, and a convicted sex offender who walked out of a Missouri hospital in the middle of the night. Kathy Park has late details.
Tonight, the urgent manhunt for a convicted sex offender who escaped from a St. Louis hospital, prompting a stark warning from police to watch children at bus stops.
He is absolutely considered dangerous. Do not approach him.
Local schools heightened security and canceled after-school activities hours after 45-year-old Tommy Wayne Boyd walked out of a hospital, seen here on surveillance video around 4 a.m., according to police. Boyd is serving a 30-year sentence for sexually assaulting an 11-year-old.
I will assure you that we have the capacity with our federal, state, and local partners to continue this effort indefinitely.
The hospital said Boyd was getting medical treatment while being guarded by 2 corrections officers when he got away. In Indianapolis, a separate search intensifying for 28-year-old murder suspect Kevin Mason, who was mistakenly released from jail due to a clerical error. Officials say he's now believed to be armed. The sheriff's office has his girlfriend in custody for assisting a criminal and are following new leads stretching into other cities.
Of course, we've had reports of sightings of him here yesterday, and then it also led us to information that he may not be within Indianapolis.
Tonight, parts of the Midwest on edge, with 2 men authorities say are dangerous, still on the loose.
Part of the Midwest on edge, with 2 men authorities say are dangerous, still on the loose. On the loose means having escaped from confinement. The police are warning the public that a dangerous criminal is on the loose.
Back here in Indianapolis, the sheriff's office is defending their actions to wait 6 days before alerting the public about the suspect's accidental release, saying it was the best option at the time. Lester?